gorgeous evening in Miami, Florida, as it often is this time of the year. We are happy to be here. Happy to have you with us as well. NC State and Miami coming up here next on the ACC Network. We're just about a few minutes to the southwest of downtown Miami. The band's here, the cheerleaders here. The Wolfpack and the Canes are here as well. Last time these two teams tangled back on January 15th, it was an NC State win up in Raleigh. Close game early before the Wolfpack were able to extend their lead and get a comfortable win. Hi, everybody. Chris Cotter alongside Chris Patola here at the Watsco Center in Coral Gables, Florida. We saw the last meeting right there. It was a big NC State win. Closer early on, and then NC State, the Wolfpack, they were able to really extend their lead late.
They were, and it was their size. You know, DJ Funderburk had one of his best games of the season. Manny Bates was a factor. It was their size up front, their ability to dominate the glass. Chris Likes had a great performance in that game. He won't be here tonight, so we'll see how this thing turns out here in Miami.
You know, you talk about Chris Likes not being here. Both of these teams have had injury-riddled campaigns throughout 2019 and 2020. Now, one of those players that has been hurt, CJ Bryce for NC State, he's back to being healthy, and they're going to have to rely on him tonight.
He is a steadying presence. They need him in their lineup. He looked more like himself in this game against Louisville. 15 points. He was active. He got back to being who CJ Bryce is. He's their compass. He's that redshirt senior that they need in the lineup, and I think everybody takes their cues off of what he does.
He missed 4 games early in the year because of a concussion. He scored 13 of those 15 in the second half, Chris, so hopefully he wants to carry that momentum on even from that loss into this game. Now, you talk about the bigs, DJ Funderburk, and you mentioned him. He was outstanding the last time these two teams met.
This guy's a pro. He's been their best player in conference play. He's playing the best basketball of his career, and you see the versatility, the ability around the rim, can step out, hit a face-up shot. He's got really good hands, good feet, and he's an absolute monster on the glass, the offensive glass in particular. He is playing so well right now. Tonight, he's matching up against a young front court from Miami. DJ Funderburk's got to be big.
We talk about the bigs, and we talked about Bryce for NC State. Let's talk about the guards for Miami. And this is a big story, not only tonight, but really it's become a big story for Coach Larrañaga and this Hurricane team all year because of the injuries. You got Vasilovic, who's been outstanding, especially shooting the threes, but those two guys on the flanks, Likes and McGusty, they've missed games. They're going to miss this game tonight.
And it's a big loss. I mean, it's 2 of your top 3 scorers. In the case of Likes, he's one of the best guards in America. I mean, he's so dynamic with the basketball. It puts so much pressure on the defense. What it has done is it has forced 2 freshmen, Harlan Beverly and Isaiah Wong, into the lineup to play extended minutes. And they're going to have to face that NC State pressure here tonight. Taking care of the ball from those freshman guards is going to be big.
You talked about Funderburk. How about this 7-footer for Miami? Roddy Miller's been playing well.
He really has. A guy who hasn't played a whole lot until this season, was a redshirt last year, but he's got great size. He's 7 feet tall, 240 pounds, and when he gets it close to that basket, when he gets 2 feet into that paint, he's really hard to keep from scoring. That matchup against he and Funderburk is going to be awesome.
Watsco Center's getting hype. Jim Larrañaga's getting hype. We saw him at shoot-around this morning. He was really pumping his team up. It's a situation that he's got to deal with these injuries, and it's not easy, but like he said to us this morning, Chris, almost every team in the ACC is having to deal with injuries this year. It's just one of those years.
Well, it's an early look at the future. I mean, he's had Harlan Beverly, Isaiah Wong having to play a lot of minutes. And another guy who's dealt with injuries, Kevin Keats.
Kevin Keats is in his 3rd year with NC State. He only had 9 scholarship players at the start of the year, and Jericho Helms, he's out of the starting lineup tonight with an injury. We may not see that 6'7" sophomore out of St. Louis, so Kesey's even more shorthanded than he was coming in.
It's going around.
No one's going to cry for you, are they? No one's going to shed a tear. These coaches have beaten up plenty of teams over the years to where people are going to say, well, that's just part of the game, and it is, and neither one of them is making any excuses. And Chris, to your point, players like Wong and Beverly, it's a good opportunity, at the very least, for a coach like Larrañaga to get some of these younger guys some playing time.
To see what the future's going to look like. Kevin Keats telling us at the shoot-around today, the thing with their situation, even if everybody's available, even if they have everybody on their roster who's healthy enough to play, they still haven't had the continuity in practice. So they've had guys in and out of practice, and it's just affected their preparation, which ultimately affects how you play.
And when you have 8 guys that are basically going to be able to suit up to play, you don't want to get any more players hurt during practice. So how do you manage that as a part of what both of these coaches are going through right now as we get into February? Ron Groover, Jeffrey Anderson, John Gaffney are officials tonight. Both these teams have struggled coming in. Miami, they're just 2 of 7 since January 1st. NC State, meanwhile, they were on Joe Lunardi's bubble. They've lost 3 in a row. They're off that bubble now. They're trying to play their way back in, and we're underway. NC State controls the tip.
That bubble can be so fickle.
It is this year with the ACC. Right now, Joe Lunardi has just 3 teams in. Virginia's right there on the bubble. NC State, Syracuse, as we mentioned, trying to play their way back in. Bryce off on the 3, battle for the rebound in the corner. No call, it'll just go out of bounds off Miami, staying with NC State. Now 20 to shoot.
Tell you what, DJ Funderburk playing the best basketball of his career, like we said at the top, and a lot of it just having to do with his motor. I mean, he keeps the ball alive there, buys a possession for NC State.
Devin Daniels now in the corner again for CJ Bryce. Daniels now for 3. That's off the mark. Rebound goes to Isaiah Wong. Here's what NC State's going to throw out there in terms of their lineup. Manny Bates gets the start. 6'11", redshirt freshman from Fayetteville, North Carolina, in place of Jericho Helms. Harlan Beverly. He and Wong will split. Nice dish. Down low. There's Rodney Miller. His first 2 points of the day.
And he kept rolling, and thank goodness he did. How about the pass, the deception with the no-look by the freshman?
I was getting ready to say Beverly and Wong will split the point guard duties with Likes out for this Miami Hurricanes team. Bryce trying to come around a screen. Daniels faking the 3. Now he gets a better look. Teardrop can't go. Rebound to Wardenberg. Here's what the Canes throw out there as their starting 5. Keep an eye on Sam Wardenberg. He's a guy who can do everything, and we were told earlier today when he plays well, this Miami team tends to, because he's their best defender and he can do a little bit of everything. Wardenberg in the corner, thinks better of it. Here's Wong trying to get open. Drives baseline in the corner. Vasilovic way off the mark. He's their best 3-point shooter, not on that shot. Bryce pushing it. Off the back of the rim, Vasilovic with the rebound. That time off the mark again. Created some space for himself but couldn't get the bucket. Daniels with a good move. Just can't finish but gets his own board. Goes back up with it, blocked by Miller. Here come the Canes. And a good play initially, and it was a good defensive play. No foul call, we'll get the held ball.
Well, both these teams have had issues scoring in the half court. Both these teams have had issues scoring.
Period.
So, period. So I think, you see, look, some quick shots, but I think in part it's by design. Both these teams trying to get out, get some shots up, at least before the defense gets set.
Look at Miller battling down low. He is a handful at 7 feet.
Well, and it's not even just the 7 feet. He's a wide body, too.
Bryce coming back. Miami not getting back on defense. Hits the short jumper.
And here's the pressure. And without Chris Likes, we've seen teams pick up Miami, force these freshman guards to have to handle in the full court. They are playing a lot of minutes, get into their legs a little bit.
Wong traveled. He got stuck up in the air, and Funderburk was there to reject it. He tried to put up the shot.
Here's Rodney Miller, and when he scores 2 out of 3 times when he gets it close. And when he's able to get his own board, he's such a great story. I mean, his first 2 years at Miami, played 109 total minutes. Redshirted last season, and really has gotten into a nice little groove here over the last few games for Miami.
Johnson shot contested by Wong. Vasilovic lost his shoe on the defensive end, gets it back on. Vasilovic with the shot fake. Now he gets closer, knocks down the 2.
Great use of that shot fake, and he had 2 of them. One to take it to the bounce, and then one to get the defender to shed a little.
Johnson in no man's land gets it to Bates, but now he's in a little bit of trouble. Good look, though, to Daniels. Down low, misses the dunk. In the corner to Wong. He'll shoot for three. Nails it. And Coach Keats wants a timeout here quickly. Already hot is the Wolfpack. Just 1 for 9 shooting from the floor. Miami up 7 early. ACC Network basketball brought to you by Zaxby's. Hand-breaded chicken and fresh ingredients made to order only at Zaxby's. Miami up early, 9-2. Coach Keats coaching his team up. They're off to a rough start shooting, just 1 for 9. Both these teams didn't get off to a rough start as far as the year was concerned. But then once the calendar changed to 2020, Chris, rough sledding for both.
And part of that is you get into conference play, and the world is different. I mean, for both these teams, it's been an offensive struggle. They can't make perimeter shots. When you can't do that consistently, you become easier to guard. In the case of Miami, defensively, they have been let down at times as well, and they've tried some zone, some man. It's been a real struggle, and then the injuries have compounded all of those issues.
Kevin Keats this morning said, too, this NC State team in the past, they've relied on getting easy points off of turnovers and transition. They just haven't gotten any transition buckets this year. They've relied too heavily on the shooting and the outside shooting of this team. It just hasn't fallen. Case in point. Good look at Keystone. He's been banged up for so long this year, too. Good to have him back. Underneath, Bates with the shot block. One of the best shot blockers in the ACC. Gets another one there. Bryce now for three. He hits. Wolfpack needed that shot.
And he has not shot it well, especially in conference. But I'm telling you, if he gets right, then I think this NC State gets healthy. I think they all take their direction from him. He's their best leader. He's certainly their most vocal guy out there.
Stone in the paint. Bates throws it out of bounds. Manny Bates with his second block in as many possessions for Miami. Now 61 on the season. Here's Bryce.
And a good find in the open floor. Again, NC State trying to score early. Nobody closes out off the shovel pass from Markel Johnson to Bryce.
Silovich uses the bump to get himself a little bit of extra space, but throws up an air ball. Johnson, great crossover. Now finds Bryce. Extra pass to Funderburk. Too long. Beverly comes off a pick, nowhere to go. Bryce on him. For three, that's Stone. Just his second three of the year, but Coach Larinaga telling us this morning it's the first time he's really been healthy pretty much all year. Now hanging on the rim, that's going to be Bates. We got a call on this. Let's see if they give him the bucket or they'll wave it off. Yeah, Bates was the one who grabbed the rim.
It's a good drive there, and you got to give this a shot to go in, and it was Manny Bates who grabbed the rim, went over the top to do it.
And it looked like Keystone may have submarine Bates. The officials right now talking to both coaches. We'll get Pat Andre coming in for NC State. He's going to give Bates a little bit of a breather. Okay. Foul on the play is going to be called on Keystone on that rebound. First foul of this first half against Miami. Side out for the Wolfpack, trailing by 6. 14:08 left to go in this first half. Johnson works his way to the rim, gets a nice little scoop to go.
He has not been driving the ball the way he did early in his career. And I think it's been part of his struggle this year. He has not played well. He needs to play better. I think at times he thinks he's better than he really is. As a guy who tested the NBA draft waters in the offseason, and the biggest feedback he got was he needs to be more consistent. And he just hasn't been this year. But it starts, to me, with Markel Johnson. You got to drive the basketball.
Battle for the rebound goes against Miami, and this is not good news right here for Miami, as Rodney Miller is slow to get up. He was battling on the boards. Neither of these teams can deal with another injury. As Miller now limps to the side. He shakes his head, nods his head, I should say, to Coach Larinaga as if to say, I'm all right. Time will tell. Anthony Walker is going to get some playing time now for the Canes, as Miller will take a little bit of a breather. Oh, nice job by Beverly to get into the lane, drive and dish. Saturday at noon Eastern, right here on the ACC Network. Second game of the Sunshine State rivalry. Miami and Florida State going at it. First game, Seminoles beat the Canes in overtime.
What a classic those teams played the first time around. And it was really that game. It went to overtime. A lot of these guys in Miami played 40 minutes. It was after that game that CJ Likes, the groin started acting up. McGusty started having the back spasms. Those guys played so many minutes in that game. What a classic, and a great win on the road for Florida State.
Great bucket by Anthony Walker on that last Miami possession. NC State now trying to answer, battle for the loose ball. Funderburk was able to corral it. Daniels. Cold shooting start for Daniels. He looked to break out of it. Instead, it's a steal. Long takes it the other way, and he'll get the bucket.
I don't think NC State recognized the defense. You know, Miami, they're in a 2-3 zone. They're changing up the looks. And just a little confusion, no one taking control.
Daniels tries to break out of that slump, and he does with a three. Beverly on Beverly. Tried to get it to Wong. Quick hands. Steele keeps it in bounds. Markel Johnson with a great job defensively, but it's the Canes with a 2-on-1. Sloppy play as Walker loses it out of bounds.
This is one of those inexcusable turnovers. It's a 2-3 zone, and Devin Daniels just loses the ball, and it turns into points on the other end. And this is, again, a game where both teams have struggled. You cannot afford to just give up free points.
Down low to Funderburk. Passes it back out to Beverly. Ooh, call against Miami. And it'll be side out when we come back. NC State trying to dig into this disadvantage, now trailing by 5, the Canes. Canes up 5, 11:48 left to go here in this first half. Miami's missing Chris Likes and Cam McGusty. McGusty, 3 out of the last 4 games. Chris and Likes has been out now 4 straight. These are the 2 best backcourt players not available.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a huge loss from a scoring production standpoint. I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, Miami, without Likes, beat Virginia Tech. Without both those guys, they played Pitt on the road to a 5-point game. I mean, they play hard, and obviously their freshman guards are talented. They're not arrived yet, but they do have good size. They play hard. But missing those 2 guys, man, especially Chris Likes, just does so much for them. He's such a spark plug, so dynamic on the offensive end.
Bryce now trying to get it to Funderburk. Shot clock violation. Funderburk didn't realize it.
It's just not I mean, there's no leadership out there, and that's Kevin Keats shaking his head. Like, Markel Johnson, if you're the point guard, score in time, and that includes the shot clock. You got to let those guys know. Nobody said a word out there.
Willie Heronson getting some playing time now for Coach Larinaga's squad as he just tries to steal a few minutes here in this first half, almost loses it. Vasiljevic now drives baseline. He's going to get called for the offensive foul.
It's put a lot more pressure without Likes and McGusty, put a lot more pressure on Vasiljevic, who is really a spot-up shooter at heart, to be more creative, especially off that dribble.
In the corner. Daniels for three again. That's his second of this first half. Started the game 0 for 5. He's hit his last couple of threes.
He's hit the threes, but the reverse dunk just couldn't get that one to go down.
10-second call. So we've had a shot clock violation against NC State. Couple possessions later, we get a 10-second call against Miami.
Play on the other end, that skip pass to the corner, and Devin Daniels knocking one down. And we've said that NC State hasn't shot it well. Their last 3 games, they're 21% from 3. Already tonight, they have 3 made threes.
Wong just D'ing up Johnson. Nowhere to go for Johnson. Stolen out of the air by Rodney Miller.
He went Debo on him. Give me your bicycle. He just ripped it out of his hands.
Yeah. Miller, who limped off under his own power, though, just moments ago. Now back in the game for Miami, getting that steal. Vasiljevic now trying to create on his own. Taking that extra step. That's a tough shot in the paint. Gets it to go. Beverly turns the corner. Out to Daniels. Another 3. He hits.
He keeps looking over after his threes. I don't know if he's staring at you and he appreciates your glasses.
He's hearing me yelling. The louder, the more he makes, the more I'm yelling. Beverly just takes it himself. He just took C.J. Bryce right to the tin.
And you see the size. 6'4" point guard.
Up top to Funderburk with the alley-oop. Nice look from Markel Johnson. Now we're getting going offensively here, Chris. Beverly breaks the press, keeps it, hits it.
Well, when you allow a guy to just dribble through your press, you're going to have to figure out a different way. I mean, there is not much resistance to this full court pressure.
Tough shot, well defended. Vasiljevic, he takes it. Now that's 3 in a row. The Canes have just gotten layups.
Well, they're just going by guys. I mean, nobody's making a stand. Nobody's trying to keep the ball in front.
Canes have made 6 field goal attempts in a row. C.J. Bryce, he nails a 3. Now NC State's heating up from deep.
And part of it is NC State's gone smaller, so when you do break the press, there's really, you don't have the 2 bigs down back, especially Manny Bates, to erase things at the basket. Here's another one.
Another layup. This time missing is Beverly, but he'll get fouled on the shot. He'll go shoot 2. Kevin Keats can't believe it. It's too easy.
So this is where, again, Funderburk is not the shot blocker that Manny Bates is. So this is like a weave drill. You might as well be folding chairs or cones or Chris Cotter standing out there with the defensive stand that's being made. And then there's nobody at the basket to deny it. And there goes Funderburk to the bench.
I don't have the lateral movement I used to have. Talk about a groin injury just waiting to happen. Funderburk, that is not good news for NC State as he heads to the locker room. Wolfpack fans are hoping just briefly. Beverly hits the second. Lead back up to 3. Funderburk got called on that last foul. NC State is 5 for 8 from 3. Make it 6 of 9. They've hit 6 in a row. Braxton Beverly that time. Everybody getting involved here for the Wolfpack. And we're all tied up. Vasiljevic, he'll try his hand short. He has not been hot from 3, and he's their best 3-point shooter. Now here comes Markel Johnson, looking to push. tough shot. Canes will look to run. Vasilovic fakes the three to Wong. He'll get inside. Ooh. Challenging Bates. That was a mistake. Daniels fakes the three. Tries to get a better shot. Now spins to the outside. Good move, but couldn't finish. Bates battling for the offensive board. He gets the bucket.
I tell you what, he is going to be a terrific player. I mean, we've talked about the shot blocking, leads the ACC in that category. When he starts to develop, right now it's offensive boards, dunks, playing off. When he starts to develop a little bit of an offensive game, I'll tell you what, I really do like Manny Bates.
Coach Keats does too, just about his personality. He's a good student. Wardenberg fouled as he went up for the bucket. He'll shoot free throws when we come back. NC State has stormed back to take the lead. Hot three-point shooting. And the big man, Manny Bates, pulling boards and making buckets. Wolfpack have stormed back to take the lead by a deuce over Miami. NC State getting it done from distance. Miami in the paint.
Well, in Miami, it's driving the basketball. Those guards getting into the paint, creating scoring opportunities. And then for NC State, a lot of it's by Miami's defensive design, right? Jim Larinaga has seen NC State's numbers over the last few games. Part of it is either they're in a zone or they're in a sagging man, inviting those three-point shots. And NC State has knocked them down over their last 6.
6 in a row after starting the game 0 for 3, and that's what's propelled them to this lead. Sam Wardenberg, the Kiwi. This is the first.
Yeah, it's interesting. The last game that NC State shot it well was against Miami. Was that game against Miami a few weeks ago. They made 9 threes in that game. Since that game, they've been in the toilet shooting the basketball.
Wardenberg misses both free throws. Braxton Beverly now running the points for the Wolfpack. Had Andre in the game for NC State as well, coming off the bench. Daniels up top to Bates.
Nice composure. I mean, that's a great play. You go up, you catch it, possession the most important thing, and then scoring becomes the second most. And so many guys would just kind of flip that up to the basket. Bates gathers it, comes down, and you get 2 points.
Vasilovic trying to get on track offensively. Crossover into the Bates, changes that shot and even got a piece of it. Beverly doesn't have numbers, he brings it back out. Andre for 3. That one doesn't go, first miss in a while. Bates battling for the board, but Wong gets it. We're going to call a long way out from the basket. Braxton Beverly. Next women's basketball doubleheader on the ACC Network Thursday night starts at 6 Eastern. The Tobacco Road rivalry between North Carolina and Duke inside Cameron. And then number 5, Louisville, hosting Florida State at the KFC Yum Center. Both teams right here on the ACC Network and on that ESPN app. Beverly for 3. In and out. Miami just cannot get a 3 to fall. Daniels tries to break down his defender and does, and 1.
Devin Daniels, known for his defense. He is a lockdown defender. He's their best perimeter defender, but it's his offense tonight. How about the cross right in front of Wardenberg's face? Knew he had the big kid on him. Crossed right in front, got himself to the basket.
Wardenberg called for the foul, his first. Daniels completes the three-point play. And it's NC State's largest lead. They've put it up to 7 now. Beverly tried to get inside, force that pass. Daniels, he'll get to the bucket. 12-0 run for the Wolfpack, and Coach Larinaga has seen enough. On the flip side, Coach Keats fired up to welcome his club to the bench. NC State up 9. For answers, the Wolfpack have gone on a 12-0 run over the last 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Coach Keats likes what he's seen. The lead is now 9. Vasilevich looking to push. Miller picks up his dribble, gets it to Wong. 10 to shoot for the Canes. It's a beautiful move to get open, but an air ball on the shot.
It's not a good shot. I mean, it's a beautiful. If this were an and one video, it's a beautiful move, Chris Cotter, but it leads to a bad shot, and that's part of the problem. Like, you have turnovers where you just give the ball to the other team.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a bad shot's a turnover, and that's part of what Miami's going through here. And NC State, give them credit, they're scoring off of either the turnovers or the bad shots over the last 2 minutes.
Officials taking a look at the replay on this foul that was called on that air ball.
This is like our third review
in
the first half. My word.
John Gaffney over at the scorers table taking a look at the review. Miami got off to a lead in this game. They were breaking down that press and getting layups. NC State fought back, started hitting threes. And then they prevented Miami a little bit better here over the last couple of minutes, Chris, in terms of getting to the basket. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back to Miami shortly. We'll get it all straightened out for you when we get back here to Coral Gables. Point lead for the Wolfpack here in the first half down in Miami. Hook and hold call against Braxton Beverly. Take a look at it here in the lower right.
He gets Wardenberg, and that's that call they put in last year, the hook and hold, and it's by letter of the law, there's no question. It's going to lead to 2 free throws and the ball for Miami. Just the right call.
Sam Wardenberg on the line to shoot those 2 free throws. Gets the first.
Sam Wardenberg is from New Zealand. Did you know that New Zealand is actually 2 islands? It's the North Island and the South Island.
No, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
He's from Auckland. Mm-hmm. Do you know what island that's on?
I'm going to guess that's the North Island.
You're right.
No, at a 50-50 shot of getting it right.
Did you know that neither island of New Zealand has snakes on it? There are no snakes in New Zealand.
That's a positive development. I'm sure Wardenberg appreciated coming down here to South Florida where there are a lot of snakes. Welcome to South Florida. Wardenberg got the 1 out of the 2 free throws. Now he banks it off the glass.
Did you know that rugby is the most popular spectator sport in New Zealand?
I did know that. Aren't they the All Blacks? Isn't that?
Yes,
yeah.
That's right. But that golf is the most popular participation sport. Apparently, folks can watch these guys beat each other up. They just don't want to be a part of it. They'd rather be on the golf course.
I agree with that. A much more leisurely endeavor. Bryce missing the 3. Here come the Canes. Wong spins, tried to get it to Wardenberg, but stuck with it, though, and got the steal. Bad turnover by NC State. Now Beverly finds himself open. He's going to drive. Miller is trying to back in Funderburg. Talk about a battle of titans. Miller gets the rebound and couldn't quite get the putback. But a big board, and Miller will go to the line. Coming up, State Farm halftime report. Packer and Durham on the tournament teams that'll be coming out of the ACC. That might be a short segment. And first half highlights and stats from this game. State Farm halftime report coming up. DJ Funderburg with the call against him. Miller on the line. Miller misses the first 2. Poor free throw shooting in this first half by the Canes. Miller's a 62% free throw shooter. He'll look to convert on the second. Funderburg with a little rest. Manny Bates back in. Coach Keats' team. Canes just 2 of 7 from the line in the early going. 2 of 8. And Wardenberg can't pull the rebound. He had an opportunity. NC State gets the ball. Bryce, the skip pass over to Daniels in the corner. 15 to shoot. Johnson down low to Bryce. Tried to force it to Bates. It was sea of hands.
It's just a bad turnover. It's not there. I mean, he had a shot.
Wardenberg.
Catch it at that foul line. You turn, and you're open. Shoot it.
Miller just puts a body into Bates. We'll get a call on Daniels trying for the strip on the baseline. Miller is going to clear some space for himself, isn't he? It doesn't matter whether it's Funderburg, who it is down low.
I'm telling you, he's been there in the last 6 games. He's been their best player. Now, they're 1-5 in those games. So, if at this point Rodney Miller's your best player and you're Miami, that's probably not the greatest of things. But like we said, his first 2 years, he only played a combined 109 minutes, and then he redshirted last year. And he has really come alive. There's his numbers for the last 6 games. And it starts with his size, like you're talking about, Chris. I mean, when you're 7 feet tall, 240 pounds, you're going to carve out a lot of space.
Still leaving a lot of points on that free throw line.
There it is. You catch it at that foul line and that gets that 2-3 zone. You turn, you're open. If you're C.J. Bryce, that's an automatic shot.
Lead back up to 7. Clock winding toward 2 minutes to go in this first half. Wardenberg looks to penetrate. Turns the corner. Bates challenging, and he'll get called for the foul.
Miami's in the 2-3 zone, and NC State flashing C.J. Bryce into that middle, and he learned. Turnover the last possession down, trying to force it underneath. That one there, he turns, faces, and fires.
Call against Manny Bates. That's his first. Wardenberg back to the line for the Canes.
Have you ever been to New Zealand?
No, never. I'd like to go. Have you been to a lacrosse game?
Never.
Check the one out we got on Saturday up in Charlottesville. I'll be there. Matt Ward will be there. We got Loyola taking on Virginia, 14 versus 2. 2 o'clock Eastern on the ACC Network.
Who do you grease to promo the games that you're doing? How in the world do we read a promo of a game that Chris Cotter is doing?
Biggest game of the week.
Who are you greasing?
Just fortunate that I get to call it. Defending national champs, Virginia. Loyola is a powerhouse at a conference. You got to check that out. Andre for 3. In and out. Big battle by Bryce, though, and 1. Bryce going in there in the land of the Giants, which isn't so giant right now because Miami's got a shorter lineup.
He's just active, and I said at the top, he's their compass. Like, he's the guy that everybody looks to, I think, on this NC State team. And so when he misses games with the concussion earlier, they really struggled. They didn't have that toughness, that steadying factor. Of course, everybody knows his story coming from UNC Wilmington with Kevin Keats.
Completes the three-point play. Miami just can't seem to really make a dent. It's back up to 8. Wardenberg tries to turn again, temporarily loses it. Anthony Walker back in the game for Miami. He'll look to get it on the give and go, and it's a steal by Daniels. Here comes NC State. They got numbers. Up to Bryce. What a beautiful shot.
What an adjustment by Bryce. The pass came late from Johnson, and Bryce made a bucket out of it.
He's got 15 here in the first half. Ten-point lead for the Wolfpack, largest of this first half. Vasilovic. Now Wong to his left. Switches to his right. Falls to the floor. Wardenberg, big rebound. Now goes up, blocked. And it stays in bounds from Markel Johnson. Now we'll get the call. And now we make it a technical, and we do. Now we get a bench technical. Coach Larrañaga is hot. Wardenberg is going to receive the first technical. And then Coach Larrañaga didn't like it, said a few words. He got teed up himself. Let's look at the action on the court first, and we'll get a determination as to what Wardenberg did to warrant the first technical and what got Coach Larrañaga so upset. So we got a common foul on Wardenberg. Then he was teed up after the common foul, and then a technical foul on Larrañaga. After Wardenberg gets blocked, he wants a call. Now he goes after Markell. The reaction was the technical. So Bryce will shoot 2.
Well, and he deserved it. I don't know what folks are upset about. I mean, he definitely deserved it. And the official gave him 2 outs. Like, he said something to him on a baseline, and then he had something to say at midcourt. And Jim Larrañaga wanted a foul on the other end and is probably in part protecting his player.
C.J. Bryce makes 2 of his first 3. So now the technical fouls are out of the way, and Bryce ended up making 3 of 4 on the free throw line, and now they shoot 1 and 1 because they're in the bonus. And Wardenberg is going to have a seat to cool down, and he also has 3 fouls, which is not great if you're Jim Larrañaga and you got a short bench. Johnson makes his first trip to the free throw line here in this first half. Good save out of bounds that time by Anthony Walker. Let's see if Miami can get something done offensively. They have been cold. Final minute of this first half. Vasiljevic for 3. Way off the mark. Barely caught iron. Bates goes for the board, but knocks it out of bounds. It'll stay with Miami. 20 to shoot for the Canes, 30.9 in this first half. Beverly sizing up Andre. Gets inside. That is a great move with the left. Switched hands in the air, and there wasn't a lot of room to operate. He still got the bucket. Final 10 seconds of this first half. Johnson up top to Bates. Got hung up on the rim, and we'll get a call against Miami, and Coach Larrañaga can't believe that. Now the jacket's coming off.
Well, I'll have to see it again. The thing that, if I were Coach Larrañaga, I'd be upset about is that call was made by the official at half court. Now, I assume, if we get a replay, I assume that there was a push from behind. But for the call to be made by the guy at half court, I'd be upset about that too.
Bates just a 55% free throw shooter. Misses the first. Misses the second. Miami will have to hurry if they want to get a shot off. Vasiljevic does get it off. Just short at the buzzer. C.J. Bryce igniting this Wolfpack team in the first half. 18 points, 5 rebounds for the redshirt senior from North Mecklenburg in Charlotte, North Carolina. When we return, we'll have the State Farm halftime report after these messages. NC State with the halftime lead here in Gables. Wolfpack by 12 as we get set to start this second half. Markel Johnson, point guard for this NC State team, just 3 points in that first half, Chris, but scoring wasn't his game.
He was directing things. It started in the open floor, and it helps when you have shot makers. Those guys ran the wings. That's 2 threes from C.J. Bryce. And then he did a nice job off the ball screen, getting himself into the paint, allowing the play to develop, and either finding that spot-up shot in the corner or DJ Funderburk, the bigs, rolling to the basket. Under control, like you said, only the two turnovers, and really directed the thing from that point guard position.
7 assists for Markel Johnson tonight against, as Chris said, just those 2 turnovers, and here he ranks in terms of the career assist leaders. Corgiani and Sidney Lowe have run off in hiding on that list right there. Lorenzo Brown, though, could potentially be in danger if Markel has a nice finish to his season, the senior from Cleveland, Ohio. And he's hoping to keep this season going well into March for NC State. Like we said at the top, though, they're off of Joe Lenardi's bubble. They need to play and win a bunch of games and get some big wins, too, between here and the end of the season if they want to get back on that bubble. But it all starts tonight.
It starts with winning tonight, yeah. I mean, you got to beat this Miami team, especially a Miami team without Chris Likes and Cam McGusty, their 2 leading scorers.
C.J. Bryce at NC State will put the ball in here to the start of the second half, up 12. Bryce had 18 in that first half. Johnson driving to the paint. Funderburk for 3, short. I don't think that's the shot that Keats wants coming out of the second half. Vasilovich over to Wong. Beverly running the point for this Miami team in the absence of Chris Likes, injured for the 4th straight game. Miller spins to his left. Tough shot. Bryce with the rebound. Now for 3. Rimmed out. Wong picks up another rebound. He's pretty good at getting inside and just finding those lanes to pull some boards. Vasilovich just been cold. Couldn't get the short jumper to go. Just 3 of 11 shooting Vasilovich. Markel just found himself wide open on the baseline. What happened there? Little guy like that shouldn't be able to do it that easily. Wong, meanwhile, goes coast to coast. And Funderburk shaken up a little on the end line. And Funderburk will be helped off the court by his teammates. He was shaken up a little bit in that first half as well.
Got drilled in the head here by Manny Bates as he's going up. And he has. It's been a tough night. Left the floor earlier. Got a shot in the sweet spot. And then right there in the head.
Sharp elbows from Manny Bates. Funderburk being attended to on the sideline by NC State staff. Markel distributes now. Down to Bates, down low. He couldn't get the bucket. Will go the other way.
You know, and it is a different dynamic because Kevin Keats starts with the 2 bigs. He starts with DJ Funderburk and Manny Bates. And what ends up happening is when one of those bigs goes off, they get significantly smaller, but it's a different dynamic. And I think it's been tough for Miami to match up with because it means that Wardenberg has to end up guarding one of those guards. It's one of the reasons I think C.J. Bryce got it really going there at the end of that first half.
Bryce missed a shot on the other end and picked up the foul. Now Johnson battling for the board. He'll get called for the foul.
Tell you, the guys who have to mop up the sweat, that is a lonely job. Underappreciated.
No question. Just getting yelled at. And if you miss a spot, heaven forbid you miss a spot and somebody slips. Beverly off the back iron. Johnson skying to get the rebound. Didn't want anything to do with Miller, but found Bates.
Oh, and he knew he had Miller on him, which meant Bates was going to have somebody smaller on him, which he did, and great recognition by Markel Johnson.
In the corner to Wong. Johnson quickly out on him. Vasiljevic working on Braxton Beverly. Bates with the block, but they'll count it.
Here's his play on the other end. Markel Johnson realizes he ends up with well, that's the basket. But anyway, there you go. He's got Miller on him, and then Bates had Vasiljevic on him.
Good recognition by Johnson to find Bates for the bucket. Bates driving, and he'll get called. Bordenberg with position. You and I have talked about that a lot, haven't we?
We disagree. I don't think he had position. That's a block. And I've made this point many times, and I'm going to do it again because it's an important one. I think when they changed the rule that you're allowed to move laterally, I think that was a bad move, and we've seen more charges as a result. Just because you're in legal guarding position with 2 feet, we've had so many guys who are moving, and officials have interpreted that as a charge when it's not. That was a block.
Johnson getting inside. Nice move.
He is shifty. And he's driven the ball. I said in the first half, I thought or think he has settled a lot this year. He's taken too many perimeter shots. I don't think he's been driving the ball like he did early in his career. He has tonight, though. He's been very aggressive.
Quick hands by Braxton Beverly. Now he's open for three. He'll hit. Wolfpack extending their lead, and Jim Larinaga says, I got to talk this over before it gets way too out of hand.
And it starts with the penetration. Markel Johnson running the show tonight, finding open guys and then giving himself a little sugar.
Man to my right, Chris Patola has been a part of that great rivalry. It will be renewed on Saturday. Duke and North Carolina, very close historically between these two teams.
And in those years, teams have had up and down years.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter what Carolina's been this year. It doesn't matter what Duke's been like this year. That game is going to be good. It always is.
Always fun to watch those teams. Daniels picks up a cheapie here, well away from the basket. Daniels called for the bucket, for the foul rather. NC State up 17. We'll take a quick break. Be right back. Saturday at noon Eastern, right here on the ACC Network. Second game in the Sunshine State rivalry. Miami, Florida State. Seminoles beat the Hurricanes in overtime in the first meeting of the year. Game will start at noon. Top of the ACC looks like this, Chris. All three of these teams, in your opinion, Final Four caliber teams?
They are. I think Louisville's playing the best right now in the league. And if I had to, their experience, their balance, they have a special player in Wara. And the thing about Louisville, why I think they're playing, if you go down like their last 6 games, they've had a different hero in each of those games.
Right.
Like if it's Dwayne Sutton, if it's Wara, if it's Malik Williams. That's where Florida State, Devin Vassell's been on such a run. They've got to get a complimentary player. Like, they play a lot of guys, but they need somebody else to give them some consistent scoring outside of Vassell.
In case somebody's cold come tournament time or defense shuts them down, you got to have somebody else step up.
of late, they have stagnated offensively at times. But all three of those teams, I mean, that's to me what separates this league from the Big Ten. The Big Ten is going to have more teams in the tournament, but I do not see a team in the Big Ten right now that could win a national championship. I see a lot of good teams. So, how you measure these conferences, whether it's quantity over quality, like, look, the ACC is down this year. A lot of that has to do with dominating the first round of the NBA draft last year. But there's no question all three of those teams could win a national championship at the top of the ACC.
Lots of question marks that need to be answered. They will be answered in March. But there'll be a lot of folks filling out brackets with a lot of teams that can make Final Four runs. Bryce with the traveling call against NC State, so a couple of turnovers in as many possessions. And the bubble is going to be interesting, too, as we see Kevin Keats. He's trying to get his team back on that bubble. You got Virginia and the ACC squarely on it. I think you've got teams like Virginia Tech and Syracuse, and you could throw in NC State trying to get back in that discussion. Beverly with the bucket. We saw a lot of that in the first half. Haven't seen much of it since.
Well, and the big question is with the way that the ACC is playing, as Beverly knocks one down from deep, do you have to, like if you're one of these teams outside of Florida State, Louisville, and Duke, do you have to beat one of those teams in order to get yourself off a bubble? I mean, that's the problem. And because the ACC went to 20 games, they've added 30 losses to the league.
Yeah, and NC State coming here and beating a Miami on the road, that's not as impressive as it was in previous years. Long bomb from Harlan Beverly. Canes are going to need a lot more of that in the next 13:49 if they want to get back into this game. Braxton Beverly's just been firing, and why not? He's firing and hitting. That's his third three of the second half. Beverly's going to try his hand off the mark. Boy, a sky from Anthony Walker trying to get the board. We'll get a foul on the putback. Danny Dixon getting some playing time for NC State.
Well, this is what he can do, and you just can't be late. You have to shadow him, and I know you're in a 2-3 zone. But if you're Isaiah Wong, you see that NC State bench erupt. If you're Isaiah Wong, you got to shade Braxton Beverly. But like you said, the last game that NC State shot it well, they made 9 threes against Miami a few weeks ago. They have 9 here tonight.
Isaiah Wong with the first free throw make.
That's what Kevin Keats was telling us today. You know, we've had guys in and out of the lineup, and then when we have all our guys available, everybody thinks, well, you should be good. And we are. If we have all our pieces, the problem is we haven't had the continuity in practice. We haven't had a chance to play all of our guys enough reps in practice, and it's affected how we've played.
Johnson loses it going in the paint. That's the way it's gone tonight for NC State. Bryce was just right there at the right time. Got an easy basket. Beverly looking to penetrate on Dixon.
He is good, though, huh? This kid Beverly. He's got good length. He's kind of that combo. He'll play the point for you. You can move him off the ball. 6'4". He's got to become a better perimeter shooter, but he's so dynamic off the ball screen, and he's so good at the rim because of the length.
And you think about this backcourt with Likes. You know, he's got that groin injury right now, but next year with Likes, Beverly, and Wong now getting a lot of minutes, a lot more minutes than they got before in this season when Likes and McGusty were healthy. And then you bring McGusty in. That's a pretty good backcourt plus the 3 with McGusty, right?
A very good backcourt.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, in this day and age in college basketball,
Danny Dixon.
He was great in shoot-around today. You knew he was going to play tonight. And not just because it's a blowout. He was great in shoot-around today. As he goes to work here, they find him. He's got the smaller Wong on him. And nice kiss off the glass through the contact. But Miami's in a spot in this day and age in college basketball. If your freshmen are good enough to get minutes, but they're not quite good enough to say, I'm going to the NBA, you got a chance to bring back a pretty good team. So you got to suffer through a year like Miami's going through, but when you only lose Vasiljevic, who knocks one down there, and Keith Stone, you got a chance to be pretty good next year.
Vasiljevich's first three of the night, and he throws his arms up and says, finally, at the 12:20 mark of this second half, it has been a struggle for Vasiljevic. Daniels now gets his pocket picked. Here comes Wong, one of those freshman guards. Looks off the defender, and it's thrown down by Anthony Walker, another freshman.
Wow.
And the lead is down to 13. Kevin Keats shrugs his shoulders as Miami making a little bit of a run here, under 12, down 13. C.J. Bryce scored 13 of his 15 Saturday night against Louisville in the second half, and he's picked up right where he left off tonight.
Yeah, I thought he started to get back to who he was in the second half of that Louisville game, and it has carried over into tonight. This is the player that C.J. Bryce is. Active, athletic, will knock down a perimeter shot, and it's amazing how look, his tide lifts all ships on this NC State team. Him playing well tonight, I thought, has really engineered this offense.
Miami's making a little bit of a run here to get this thing down to 13. Braxton Beverly, no call. As you see Bryce's numbers, 20 so far on the night. Vasiljevic, who just hit his first three. Can he hit another one? Just cold, just can't find the rhythm tonight. Beverly, though, with a nice offensive board. And Miami will go to the line with Keith Stone. Dixon absorbing some fouls here late in the going for NC State. Stone hits the first. The next women's basketball doubleheader on the ACC Network Thursday night starts at 6 o'clock Eastern. North Carolina and Duke from Cameron, followed by number 5 Louisville hosting number 17 Florida State. Both games right here on the ACC Network and on that ESPN app. Stone hits both free throws. 7-0 run here for the Canes.
Throw it to Manny Bates. Got a guard on him.
Bryce trying to work on Vasiljevic. Johnson drives. Kept his footing. Now gets the rebound. So they get 20 more seconds now to shoot. Bryce doesn't look like he wants to wait that long. He doesn't. Turnaround. No, but Bates is there for the offensive board.
He is active. Manny Bates, what a play.
Bates now with 8 points and 6 boards. Got the start tonight. Jericho Helms was injured. Hadn't played. Vasiljevic for 3. Now he hits another one. He's got to heat up here in the second half if Miami wants to claw their way back. It's a 10-point game. Andre in the corner. Now back up to Daniels. 10 to shoot for NC State. Bryce got inside. They'll get Vasiljevic on the reach.
And they're running stuff. The play's called for him, so and I always felt like I was more confident, felt better about a shot when the play was called for me. And the guy who, like you said, hasn't shot it well. He knocks 2 down there, and he's from Australia. Do you want any Australian facts?
It's right next to New Zealand, is it not?
Gave you a whole
the Southern Hemisphere. That's what I know about Australia. Done a good job on that GoFundMe account, though, raising over $9,500 to help the Australian wildlife funds down there. All the devastation from the wildfires. So, Vasiljevic, nice job off the court, as well as the play he's had this year for Miami on the court. C.J. Bryce just picked up his 3rd foul. Looks like Coach Keats is going to go to his bench. Keep Bryce in. He'll bring in Beverly for Andre.
Did you know that the first commercial bungee jump took place in New Zealand?
Or back on New Zealand. No, I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't come prepared
Right.
with Australian facts.
You're a fountain of information on New Zealand. Turnover against NC State. Ball back to Miami, trailing by just 10 points. They've quietly snuck back into this game to make a game of it here as we're under 10 to play. Double dribble called against NC State on that last possession. Coach Keats having a conversation with one of the officials. Friendly conversation. I'm sure it's probably not about New Zealand or Australia.
It should be.
There's a lot of interesting things about New Zealand and Australia. Nothing very interesting about that shot from Keystone, a brick. Johnson and NC State now looking to slow it down a bit. Daniels checked by Vasiljevic. Now Walker comes out. Daniels off the mark. He knew it and he crashed the boards. He's going to pick up a foul.
You know, Miami is just switching these ball screens at the top. So what's happening is these guards, be it Johnson or Devin Daniels there, they're getting a big switched onto them. Their eyes are lighting up, and they're trying to just kind of go one-on-one. And it's led to some empty possessions, some bad shots, empty possessions. That's a bad foul there. You let Miami march down 94 feet and take 2 free shots.
Yeah, Miami now in the bonus, the final 9 minutes of this game. And they did not shoot the ball well from the line in the first half, in the first part of this second half, but Stone hits the first.
Chance to make it an 8-point game here. My math is correct on that.
First time we've been under 10 points as far as that NC State lead since that first half. Your math is correct. I was just thinking all the money that taxpayers paid for that government education of yours really went to good use.
You're welcome.
Johnson drives baseline again, and he'll draw the foul. He's not afraid to go in there and mix it up with the trees. Back to Johnson off the inbound play. Just probing that defense. He's got Bryce back here with him. Under 10 to shoot, ball kicked around, it's a turnover. Here comes Beverly quickly. Doesn't have numbers, but he stops and pops. It is a 6-point NC State lead. The crowd getting into it here at Watsco.
And NC State just keeps pounding their head against the wall. They're running this high ball screen, and these turnovers are leading us points on the other end.
Bryce misses.
Nothing offensively for NC State.
Stone pulls the board. Here comes Vasiljevic. Couple of threes here in the second half. Tries for another. Off the mark. He knew it, but Walker's there for the putback. (16-2) run, and Coach Keats has seen enough of this run. Coach Larinaga likes it, and why not? We were staring a blowout right in the face, but Miami says, we are not done yet. It is now a 4-point advantage in the game, folks.
This young fella is dynamite.
Cartel Boss is a freshman tonight. Harlan Beverly, a new career high, 16 points.
And he's 6 of 8, so he's done it efficiently. And he's kind of stayed within his box, right? Like the movie Hitch. He hasn't gone outside the box, attacking the board, getting into the paint, and then a nice little pull-up here in mid-range. He's had a few of those in his second half. What a job he's done. It really led this comeback.
There you see the new career high. Speaking about a job, holy cow. Markel Johnson. He's been fun to watch tonight, scoring just that much, but really facilitating his teammates too, but forcing the issue. Vasiljevic, another one, yes.
And he's been a big part of this comeback as well. Hadn't been shooting it well, but man, he has knocked him down in the last 5 minutes.
3 threes all in this second half. The lead is down to 3 for the Wolfpack. Daniels off the mark. Bates has been huge. Picks up the offensive rebound, but Walker's quick hands gets it back to Miami.
And these threes from DJ Vasiljevic, all from the same spot, that left slot, running that same action. And a good play right there by Anthony Walker to buy a possession, to steal a possession, I should say.
Last time we were tied, it was 24-24. Another three from Vasiljevic, maybe from that spot. He's going to try it. Just off the front of the rim. Beverly tracks down the rebound. He'll take it to the coast to coast. Easy bucket for the Wolfpack. Vasiljevic is unhappy with himself. Wong on the wing, back to Beverly. Beverly attacks, stripped. 3-on-2. Johnson hit the official. Bad luck, tried to get it to Beverly in the corner. Here comes the other Beverly with the left.
It's unlucky for NC State because that was the right play. The baseline skip was the pass and just struck the official right in the back, right in the middle of his back.
Jeffrey Anderson, the best defender Miami had on that possession. Johnson trying to break down the defense. Does, man, he has been spectacular tonight.
In the English to get that thing to go down. What a finish.
11 points and 11 assists for Markel Johnson. Those 11 assists to go against just 4 turnovers. Double comes. Beverly just got caught in the air. That's a freshman play, isn't it? This Beverly trying to make it work for NC State. Out of bounds to Miami.
Well, it's attacking the glass. Here's Harlan Beverly after the ball hit the official in the back. A good finish on a tough defender in CJ Bryce. And then just a little hot sauce at the top. And then how about the English to get that thing from the top left of the square back into the heart of the basket.
Markel Johnson's played really well tonight. Wong now with the ball in his hands, running the show for this Miami offense. He gets in the paint, couldn't get it to go, but he'll draw the foul. That's on CJ Bryce. Now that's 4 on Bryce. Let's keep an eye on that with 4:33 left to play.
With Isaiah Wong at the line, this is how much playing time can advance how a guy's doing. Isaiah Wong had 8 points against Duke in that game against Duke here in Miami. Before that, he hadn't even come close to 8. In their last 4 games, he's averaging 13 points a game. And so, he's just gotten some run. And a lot of run at that, playing about 38 minutes a game.
Got that shooting percentage up, his three-point shooting percentage now up to 39% on the year. Hits both free throws. Lead back down to 3. Johnson looking for help. Gets it to Bryce. Has to be careful there. Short. Bryce, who had 18 points in that first half, just 2 in the second. Beverly for 3. Way off the mark. Walker tracking down the rebound, giving his team a chance, but it might end up being two the other way. Bryce converts.
That's twice now that NC State has scored off a long batting of the ball that has started the fast break.
Interesting they're working Beverly a little bit more off the ball here, Coach Larrañaga is in Miami. Vasiljevic in the corner. Steps back. Short. Johnson finds Bates, who stuffs it.
What a find by Markel Johnson.
Young man Manny Bates providing dividends for the Wolfpack. They're up 7.
Welcome back to Miami. Twice in the last 3 minutes, a long batted ball. This one by Miami leads to a run out on the other end and 2 points, and then another long three leads to another batted ball by Miami that leads to points by NC State on the other end. That's just a crusher in a tight game like this if you're Miami.
The lead is 7 points, NC State. Now just trying to hang on. Led by 12 at the half. Miami's made a big run. And a couple of easy buckets for NC State, allowing them to extend this lead back out to 7. Bryce has had a huge night, 22 points, but he had 18 at the half. Harlan Beverly, one of these freshmen contributing for Miami, 18 points, a career high for him. Not to be lost in that discussion is Markel Johnson. The night he's had 11 points, 12 assists for the Pack.
Be interesting if this goes to Vasiljevic. In that slot he's caught it at. Here he is.
Yeah, on the other side, off the mark. Beverly, though, pulls the board. Long will go base time. He meets Bates, but Bates will be called for the foul.
You know, it says a lot out of the timeout. Jim Larrañaga drawing up a play for his senior, and not the two freshmen who have played well, but how about the offensive rebound? In a game like this, under 3 minutes, 7-point game, all these possessions so crucial. To buy another one there, or at least another shot with the offensive board is huge.
Basketball can be a strange game, can it? Miami 5 of 12 from the free throw line in the first half. They're 11 for 11 in the second. Well, of course.
Nice. Nicely done. Nice.
Isaiah Wong. Sorry, Isaiah. The lead is 6. Braxton Beverly decides to pass up the 3, back up to Johnson. Vasiljevic checking Johnson. He's going to try and drive. He does. Gets into the paint. High off the glass.
Wow. High level. He's been so good off the glass tonight, showing the touch. Impossible to keep in front.
Long stumbling as he tried to get into the paint. Held ball situation, it'll stay with Miami.
You know, so often Markel Johnson, he's got this matchup, no chance for Vasiljevic. And his eyes light up, he knows it. And then how about the finish over length, high off the glass? I mean, there's so many times where Markel Johnson is the reason that NC State wins games. So often at times, though, he has hurt them. Tonight, he has been so dynamic.
Vasiljevic pressing the point. Gets it into Bates. That's 3 on Bates. A couple of quick ones. He's almost automatic from the line, 92%.
So you're going to do that again?
Not twice. You can't do it twice in a row.
You're a real piece of work, Cotter.
I'm just going to drop the headset off, head down to South Beach, and you take it from here. I'm going to ruin anybody else's night. One out of 2 for Vasiljevic. Under 2 to play. Almost the turnover, but the foul on Wong.
Oh, they're not in the bonus yet. They don't have to foul. I mean, it's imperative they get a stop, but they don't have to foul. There's still plenty of time in this game. There's that switch again.
15 to shoot. Johnson out to Daniels. Daniels mishandles the pass as he tried to drive baseline, and it's another turnover.
With how he's finished, I don't know why Markel Johnson gave that ball up. Just drive it and then allow Manny Bates to go up, gather an O board. You're better off with Johnson taking a shot there, or at least getting himself to the basket.
That's the 16th turnover of the night for NC State. Well, Miami, their issue here, Chris, is that they've gone over 4 minutes without a field goal. They've gotten some points from the line, but they haven't been able to generate any offense. And now they've got to try and dig into this disadvantage. Long, he may have come up hurt. Yeah, he's hurt a little bit.
And so is C.J. Bryce. Look like they banged knees. Yeah, man, that is one of the worst things. So painful.
Both players are trying to walk this one off.
Yep, just nailed knees.
Yeah, right there. The only thing you can do is walk it off, and it's terrible.
Terrible. It's terrible.
It really is. It's like it's not a major injury at all, but boy, it feels like you'll never be the same.
When Bryce stayed on the floor, Long ended up going to the locker room.
Beverly now drives baseline. It's off of Johnson's leg, and he'll stay with Miami. Now they'll take a look at this. Coach Keats was screaming for them to take a look at it. Friday night at 9 Eastern, catch the next edition of Bald Men on Campus, the weekend studio basketball show that previews the weekend's ACC slate of games, as well as covering the latest news from around the conference. Jay Billis, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg will host Bald Men on Campus Friday nights at 9. Yeah, take another look at this. Beverly drove. Johnson came over with the help. And they'll reverse the call. Didn't touch Johnson. Oh, the hand, I see right there. It got Keystone's hand right before it went out of bounds. So Keats was yelling and screaming for the officials to take a look at it. Now he's got a wry smile on his face. That's why I was yelling. Big call in this game with just 1:19 left to go. And a 7-point advantage for NC State. Now they'll have the ball. And
now if you get the right guy, I'd start fouling. Like Markel Johnson, not a good free throw shooter.
Instead, they foul Devin Daniels. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by Zaxby's. We're going to give it to C.J. Bryce. 22 points really sparked this NC State team in that first half to get the advantage that they have yet to relinquish here late in the going. Still not in the bonus, so NC State taking the ball out of bounds. Even after the foul, and a steal by Keystone. He got hit in the face. Beverly can't connect on the three, but Walker is there for the rebound. He misses the putback attempt. Markel Johnson grabs the rebound in the corner. And we'll have to take a look at Keystone's condition as he got hit in the face inadvertently while making that steal. Oof.
Yeah, it's certainly inadvertent. Doesn't make Keith Stone feel any better.
This has been a tough physical game. NC State will take the ball out of bounds in the corner.
If you State, you want Beverly or Devin Daniels catching this. Both those guys outstanding free throw shooters. Kevin Keats has his foul shooting team on the floor. Andre and Markel Johnson out here near half court.
Johnson will catch it and is fouled. Just a 54% free throw shooter coming into the night.
And that's why he was out at half court.
There you see Keith Stone on the bench for Miami trying to get that vision back. Johnson hits the first. His big night continues. 14 points, 12 assists for the senior from Cleveland. Stone's back. That's good news for Miami. Johnson knocks them both down. Lead back up to 9. Miami needs points in a hurry. Beverly attacks the rim. Can't finish, but he'll go to the line. Pat Andre, Kevin Keats. Oh, I thought he might be walking back to the locker room. Just does not want that clock to stop.
The problem is he's got Andre on the floor for handling and free throw shooting, most importantly. But he's not the defensive stopper that I think Kevin Keats is looking for in that spot.
Andre gets the ball into Johnson. He's fouled after Beverly hit both free throws.
You know, it's interesting. Both coaches started the game tonight without a tie, but one of them removed his jacket. So, you know, some of the clothing has been discarded intentionally.
Kevin Keats, you're right. Kevin Keats staying with the jacket, despite the fact that it's relatively humid inside this building. It's beautiful outside. I would have lost that jacket before the first TV timeout. Credit to Keats. It's Beverly missing. Battle for the board in the corner. Johnson keeps it. Finally gets fouled, but with 32.6 left to go and a 9-point advantage, it's maybe all academic.
Kevin Keats, he wasn't giving that ball up, right? I mean, like, there is an opportunity if you're a point guard at this point in the game when you know they're going to foul. You're talking about padding a stat line by about 6, maybe 8 points, depending on how long they're fouling for. It's one of those sneaky padding of the stat moments in the game of basketball. And there was no way that Markel Johnson was giving that ball up to Pat Andre in the corner, who is a better free throw shooter.
Yeah, Johnson's 5 of 6 for the game. Maybe he's just saying, look, I'm hot. I'm the senior point guard. I'll carry you home, fellas. Don't worry about it. Let's take a look at what NC State has coming up. We mentioned the fact that they're going to try to play their way back onto the bubble. But you're going to have to win at Syracuse. You're going to have to obviously beat Boston College. You're going to have to win the games you're supposed to win and steal one of those games versus Duke or Florida State.
I think that's the path for ACC teams. It's going to come down to beating one of Duke, Florida State, or Louisville. Mm-hmm. That's going to resonate with a committee. It's going to be one of those quad one wins, and I think the league is at a point where teams are going to have to do that.
Miami, meanwhile, at Florida State Saturday at noon. That game you can watch on the ACC Network. See what Coach Larrañaga has coming up. Canes will drop to 11-11 overall, 3-9 after this game. So it's a matter of, for him, getting Likes and McGusty back healthy and seeing more what these young kids can do. And maybe there's an NIT berth at the end of the line where you can even see more of these young players and get more games, more practices, and more playing as a team. Because they could all be back next year other than Vasilovic. Johnson hits the first. Final 25 here from Coral Gables. Harlan Beverly tries to drive, loses it in the paint. Picked up by Daniels. Final 10 seconds. Coach Larrañaga calls off the Dogs. Miami unfortunately finished the game without a field goal in the final 5 minutes and 43 seconds. The horn sounds. NC State behind 22 from C.J. Bryce and 19 and 12 assists from Markel Johnson. Get their 15th win of the season. 83-72, our final from the Watsco Center here in Coral Gables, Florida. For Chris Patola, I'm Chris Cotter, saying so long from Coral Gables. We'll see you next time.